Need this. Hey there, how's it going, everybody? This is the New England Patriots pregame show brought to you by CLNS Media. My name's Alex Barth. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday evening, back from the bye week as the Patriots get ready to take on the Denver Broncos. Again, this is Alex Barth. Thanks for tuning into the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. We're happy to have you here on a Sunday night. We will take you up until at least 7 o'clock when the inactives are released. We'll talk about those for a little bit, and then we'll stay on as need be until we go to break. If I have my stuff that I want to get to, of course, but if you guys have any questions or comments for me throughout the show, I encourage you, please, if you're watching on the CLNS YouTube page, to put them over there in the chat on the right, and if you're watching down below on Periscope, same deal, chat's down below, but I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. There's a lot of interesting angles in this game. The Patriots, not just one, but a couple personnel moves during the week. We'll touch on those. And, of course, the boogeyman for Bill Belichick, that is Denver, that high altitude, that loud crowd, those defenses. Throughout his career in New England, it's always been trouble. And we will see how he handles it this week, and all that to talk about and more here coming up. But I just want to remind everybody here that this show is brought to you by MyBookie New. If you need holiday cash, I know where you can get it. MyBookie is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. Believe it or not, the holidays are just around the corner, and trust me, you're feeling it. If you went outside today, if you went outside yesterday, ice cold, really getting that Christmas chill in here. And well, that means there's plenty of parties and gifts and spending. It also means there's lots of football, basketball, and hockey games, and you can score big every day. Man up and play like the pros on game day. You can play the money line, side, or total. MyBookie is your hook for all of your betting needs and offers super fast payouts when you win. When you bet, it's just as important who you're betting as where you're betting. And if you want to make money betting the games, you have to go to mybookie.ag. They're the only site I'd recommend. I trust them, but you don't even have to take my word for it. Go to MyBookieAG and check them out yourself. They have odds on every matchup and a mobile site that makes wagering on your smartphone a breeze. And get this, join now and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. You're getting paid to put money down on football games. That's what you dreamed of back in college. If you're not in college yet, wait, you'll understand that reference. Use the promo code MYB50, that's MYB50, one word, no spaces, to activate the offer for a 50% bonus on your first deposit. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. Speaking of winning, that's what the Patriots will try to do tonight as they take a 6-2 record into the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. And let's start right there because we've been hearing about it, all week. And this is going to be a theme here on the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. Actually, before we get to that, I want to remind everybody we have your coverage throughout the evening. They talk about a lot in football. A team goes into the bye, and they will use that chance to, reset, work on some things, get better. Well, that's what we at CLNS with our Patriots coverage did as well. We've talked over the bye week. We figured some things out. We have a revamped, full all-over coverage for you. It starts with the pregame show. That will take you up until about 7:15. Then you can follow Mike Petraglia at Trags on Twitter and Patriots CLNS. We'll have your coverage throughout the game. I will be back just on Periscope, so you can follow CLNS Media on Twitter at CLNS. Periscope halftime show, second half, same deal. Mike Petraglia and our Twitter account will have you, and then Mike and Marv have you with the CLNS Media Patriots post-game show after the game. So everything you need right here. We hope you stay with us. We're really bringing you a lot today. No better place to get your Patriots coverage than from CLNS, a leading online provider of audio-visual coverage of Boston sports. So as I see some people kind of coming in here a little bit later, I'm assuming those of you who are checking out our Celtics post-game coverage, and what a game that was. The Celtics have now won 12 games in a row. And let's start right there with that number 12. And of course, if we're talking Patriots, there's only one number 12 that matters, and that is the man himself, Tom Brady. As good as he has been, and we don't need to get into his accolades because it would take me the entire show, and we can do that another time. Brady has had bad success in Denver. You want to pick out Brady's defining moment in Denver, there's two of them. There's the interception in the playoffs. I think it was in the playoffs in 2006. That was almost a pick six where Ben Watson made a game-saving tackle. And then the interception to Rob Gronkowski a couple years ago in the AFC Championship. Brady doesn't really have that Tom Brady game-winning moment in Denver that he has against so many other teams and in so many other places. Is tonight the night? Maybe, but we've seen how tough it is for Brady in Denver, and for this Patriots team in Denver, This is going to be a chance to see how snake-bitten they really are up in the Rocky Mountains, because this may be the worst Denver team that the Patriots have played in Tom Brady's era. Brock Osweiler is the starting quarterback. We'll start right there. Brock Osweiler is the starting quarterback. I know this is a good defense. It's not a great defense. This is not the Denver defense of 2013. They are older. They've lost some key pieces. And frankly, they're just not having as good of a year. Certain guys are just not playing up to the level they should play at. And I think some of these players are turned off at the fact that Denver's not this world-beating team they're used to be. So for the Patriots offense tonight, coming out of the bye, you had a chance to work on some things. You get Martellus Bennett back. He will play. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Tonight's a chance to show that the Patriots are back. We see this every year, and I said it weeks 2, weeks 3, weeks 4 on this show. Was I concerned? Yes, at the time. But I had faith in them turning it around. Because the Patriots aren't the Patriots in September and October. They're the Patriots in November and December. That's when they ramp it up and they curb stomp the rest of the league, for lack of a better term, but it's what they do. So tonight, that second half push begins. Tonight, they should come out, given what their opposition is, and dominate. And I've said that very few times on the show. I've had a lot of close picks. They should come out and dominate tonight. And we'll see if they do. But it's offensive specifically. They should come out and they should have one of, if not their best games of the year. I know they're injured. I know they're banged up. I don't care. They still have Brady. They still have Gronk. The running backs are healthy. Rex Burkhead coming back has been a huge piece for them, an understated piece for them. So we will see what they do tonight, but I have high expectations for the offense tonight. Again, this is the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. My name is Alex Barth. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys have any questions or comments, I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about, you can put them in the chat over there to my, which way am I going here, left on YouTube or down below on Periscope, and we'll talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about. Let those start rolling in. We're taking you up till about 7:10, 7:15. We're waiting on the inactives. I apologize ahead here if I'm repeatedly checking my phone. I just want to make sure we're up to date on everything that's going on with the Patriots, and I don't want to miss anything that we could talk about. The inactives will come out 7 o'clock, I think 7:05 technically, but we'll have those for you when they come out. Not anticipating much before that, but we'll keep you up to date. All right, so we kind of touched on the Patriots offense as a whole, big picture. They should have a good night tonight. What can we look for specifically from this team, and how does this offense match up against what I think is an ailing Denver defense? Still good, but ailing, a shell of what they once were. They still have Harris. They still have Talib. Okay, they still have Von Miller. But you look at the guys they've lost and the guys who have regressed. TJ Ward, Elvis Dumerville, blanking on the defensive end that went to Jacksonville. The name's out there. If somebody wants to throw it in, please do. They're not what they once were. The secondary is still very good. That front seven outside of Von Miller does not scare me that much. The pass rush is good, not great, but if you can offset their pass rush, they will be in a world of hurt. That's what teams have done to them all year, is thrown off the timing of the pass rush. How do you do that? Well, the Patriots luckily have done this before this season. And ironically, against 2 other AFC West teams. The AFC West defenses are built similar all throughout, and they kind of did this against the Chargers, or they did it more against the Chargers. They should have done it more against the Chiefs. When they did it against the Chiefs, it didn't work as well. But I'm just seeing Will Bennett as a question coming in. If you want to finish that up, I'll get to that. So what do they need to do to counter this pass rush? Running backs, catching the ball out of the backfield. James White, Rex Burkhead, their 2 leading receivers 2 weeks ago in their last game against the Chargers. I think you see a similar attack. Swinging the ball to the outside, forcing those pass rushers to hesitate, and widening that field, making them defend the full width of the field and not just inside the hashes. I think that ultimately is going to be a huge difference, because if you can get Von Miller second guessing, you take out Denver's biggest defensive weapon, and if he doesn't second guess, then those looks are going to be wide open all night. Brady can get the ball out in a second and a half, and you're good to go. Doesn't matter how fast Von Miller's coming. He's not going to get there in a second and a half. I know Nate Solder's been bad this year. He's not that bad. And not having Marcus Cannon tonight factors into that, by the way. Brady needs to get the ball out of his hand quick. Just another reason I think the running backs will be a big part of the game plan tonight. James White, Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis to an extent, but I'm not sure how much they'll use them on the grass field in Denver. But those running backs catching the ball tonight, that's going to be big. So we can get back into that, but we have our first question. This is from John on YouTube. John, first of all, thanks for watching the show. Will Bennett play tonight? Yes, he will. I think he will. All the reports are that he will. He is active. He is expected to be dressed. Belichick rarely dresses players without playing them, especially how thin they are at pass catchers from the line of scrimmage. So they actually believe, everybody's saying they're thin at pass catcher. They have 3 running backs I trust them throwing the ball to. I'm not going to include Gillisley in this. I'm not going to include Brandon Bolden in this. Well, we don't really include Brandon Bolden as a running back, but that's another point. They have 3 running backs who can catch the ball, which is more than most teams have. They're not thin at pass catcher. They are thin among pass catchers at the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I think Bennett will play. Look, you're not going to see him in his role last year. He is dealing with a torn rotator cuff. To the extent we don't know what, probably not fully torn, because I'm not a doctor, but from what I've read, that's something that you just physically can't play on. You can't lift your arm, and he's not going to be able to play with that. But, look, if he can... I'm not looking for them to run him up the seam like they did last year. I'm not looking for them to throw him screens, expose him to hits like they did last year. But this team has been bad in the red zone. Like, NFL bad, not just comparable to other Patriots teams bad. They are around 50% in the red zone scoring touchdowns, which is an astonishingly low number for this group. And part of it is the loss of LeGarrette Blount. Mike Gillisley hasn't been what we thought he would be, and that's a disappointment. But they just, outside of Gronkowski, who at times, you go back, you watch the tape, teams are triple teaming him in the red zone. He's dealing with 3 defenders because I guess they're just not worried about Dwayne Allen. Why should they be? If you can just get Marcus Bennett, you're at the 5-yard line, have him run out, run along the back line of the end zone, and get his hands up to here where he can catch the ball. He's 6'6". That's still up on most people. That's all you need him to do tonight. And I think he can do that. Look, he wouldn't be playing if he couldn't help the team. He took a physical when he came to New England. They checked him out. I'm sure they had him running routes, this and that, getting him ready. Belichick knows what he has in him. I'd put his snap percentage, I'm just going to go off the top of my head. I've been really bad with snap percentages this year. I'm gonna say between like 15 and 30%, somewhere in that range. But I think red zone specifically, and you know what, also, again, we don't know with the shoulder. We don't know. But he's a great blocker. And those short yardage, those 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s they've had trouble with, first of all, you can use Bennett in those situations. Doesn't have to be in the end zone. Maybe a little more hesitant, run him towards the sideline so he's not taking a big hit over the middle. But 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, yeah, I like Marty Bennett on the field in those situations to block. We got a question from JD. How do you think Bennett will fit back in with the Patriots system again? I think he'll fit in well. Look, you change the offense from year to year. It's what you do. And for a guy like Brian Hoyer, remember, this is his first game back with the Patriots. Hopefully we don't see him. But it's Hoyer's first game back with the Patriots. For a guy like Hoyer, it's going to be a little more difficult. The playbook's probably more than less changed since he was last year. It's probably more new than old to him. Bennett was gone not even 365 days. Most of this playbook should be the same. So how does he fit in to the system from a mental view? He should know the playbook. And I'm sure they have enough guys returning that they can put stuff back in from last year that guys will know that he'll be familiar with. So from that point of view, from a game plan point of view, he fits in well. From a physical point of view, that's what we have to see. What can and can't he do with that shoulder? The red zone shouldn't be an issue because he's not going to be taking that many hits. I think the red zone, it'll look just like last year. They're going to use him just like they did last year, run him into the back of the end zone, throw him not necessarily jump balls, but balls that he can go up and get that, 5'10" corners are going to have to contest on a 6'6", 6'7" tight end. But what can he do physically in the open field? That's going to be the issue. Hello to our viewer on Periscope. So again, just to reset, this is the New England Patriots pregame show on CLNS Media. If you're watching on YouTube or Periscope, thanks for tuning in. We're taking you up till about 7:10, so another 15, 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions for me, and I see the chats coming in, and we'll get to them on YouTube, Periscope as well. Put them down below on Periscope, over to my left on YouTube. I'll get in as much as I can, questions, comments. You want to call me out on something, please do. And I just want to remind everybody, this is just the beginning of our coverage tonight. CLNS has you throughout the game. I'll take you up till about 7:15. Then you can follow Mike Petraglia. Will have some commentary, as well as Our Patriots account at Patriots CLNS on Twitter will be live tweeting the game there for stats, updates, all of that. You can find it there. I'll be back at halftime. That will be Periscope only. So if you're watching on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at CLNS Media. If you're watching on Periscope, you already found it. Come back at halftime. And then Mike and Marv will have you with the CLNS Media Patriots post-game show. And that will be back on YouTube after the game. You can check that out. Then they'll break it all down and preview next week in Mexico City against the Raiders. So we got a question here on YouTube, but this is from D. Murphy. Can the Pats defensive line handle the Broncos running game? I have big concerns with them not having the bodies for that altitude. Okay, so this is actually something I wanted to touch on, so thank you very much for getting that in. That's a very good question. We all know how it works with Denver. Denver runs, let's start by establishing this point as we break this down. Denver runs a very antiquated offensive system. In the 1990s, 1980s, early 2000s, this would be, you know, a run-of-the-mill textbook. It's a zone run. I know it's a zone run, and somebody called me out for this on a show earlier this week. I'm going to call it a power run because they use power backs in a zone scheme. So when I say power run, that's what I mean. It is a primary power back, run-heavy offense. I mean, what are they going to do? Brock Osweiler's their quarterback. What do you expect? So how do the Patriots handle that? And we all have the nightmare as Patriots fans a couple years ago in the snow in Denver, C.J. Anderson down the sideline in overtime to win the game. And D. Murphy, I think that's specifically what you're talking about. How do they stop that? The power run in between the tackles that bounces to the outside. It's killed the Patriots so much this year. I want to say this is an easy fix. It's easier said than done. Brock Osweiler's the quarterback. Stack the freaking box. 7, even 8 in the box on first down. If Brock Osweiler beats you, if Brock Osweiler throws 40 times and the Broncos win, all the power to him. All the power to him. You came out, you tried to stop their best, they hit you with their second best, and they won. All the power to the Denver Broncos. Make them do that. Make Brock Osweiler throw the ball 40, 45 times in this game. Stack the box. You're right. The bodies for high altitude are an issue. You got to keep guys fresh. Roll players in and out. Have a lot of guys in the box, so not everybody's pushing as hard on every play. And just blitz. Especially collapse that pocket. Collapse that pocket. Big game for the end. I don't want to say come off the outside. You don't want to break contain. But force those tackles in. The Broncos have a good offensive line, but it's specifically good in the middle, the center and the 2 guards. If you can force those tackles to the inside and take away those cut lanes when the running backs are trying to bounce it off to the outside, if you can take that away, that's the bread and butter of the Broncos running game. Force them to go behind the center and the guards. The Patriots' biggest problem this year defensively has been first down rushing. And that teams will roll off 4, 5, 6 yards a pop on first down. And how do you defend that? On 2nd and 3rd, you're facing 2nd and short, 3rd and very short. Teams are going to pick that up. It's been infuriating to watch them against the run on first down this year. So you need to stop the run game on first down and force them to throw on 2nd and 3rd and longs. It's all going to come down to first down for the Patriots this game on defense. It all comes down to what they can do on first down along that defensive front. I'm saying 7 in the box. I want Branch. I want Lawrence Guy. I want. Why am I'm blanking on the big defensive ends here for a sec. Flowers, and then whoever else is the 4th defensive end. Actually, Ricky Jean-Francois, who they just signed. We'll touch on him more in a minute. So give me Flowers, Branch, Guy, and Francois on the front, and then give me Harris. I'm going to shock some people here. Give me Roberts, Landon Roberts, and Patrick Chung in the box as your base defensive set tonight. Chung practically a linebacker, and I'll say this about Landon Roberts. He's been pull your head out bad at times. Pull your hair out bad at times this year. But the one thing Landon Roberts does, I don't want to say well, but that he has a knack for, he hits the hole hard. He attacks the gaps and can take away the run. Now, the problem is, he guesses on a hole when he hits it. And if he's not right, he leaves other parts of the field wide open. And that's been part of the Patriots' problems on first down. But he's a strong guy. He can hold his ground. And the Broncos run the ball just as much as you're going to see out of an NFL team. They run the ball a lot. There's a lot of tape, and they're not really that misleading about it. Their tendencies are pretty established. So he's going to have a good chance guessing the hole he's hitting. Give me a healthy dose of Landon Roberts tonight early. If it's not working, take him out. But a guy who has struggled, a guy I don't want to see in the field as much, tonight's kind of the perfect game for him in a very weird way. I think a Landon Roberts could play a factor tonight. And, of course, I don't want to forget Kyle Van Noy's been the most underrated part of this defense this year. He's been outstanding. He doesn't do any one thing great, but he does everything well. There's not many weaknesses in his game. So you hold him a yard or two on first down, get Roberts out, get Van Noy in, drop Chung back into the secondary, and then you defend the pass on second and long, third and long. I'm not too worried about these receivers. Demaryius Thomas, one of the most overrated players in football. I know people, I don't want this to sound like I'm coming at Devin McCourty, because I'm not. I love Devin McCourty. I think he's been a top 5 defensive player in the NFL this year. He's the best player on their defense, on the Patriots defense this year, that's for sure. I don't want to sound like coming after him, but that hit last year on Demaryius Thomas at the end of the game that clinched it for the Patriots, it was a nice hit. Most wide receivers make that catch. Demaryius Thomas doesn't, because he's soft. He's a bag of flour. Just jam him at the line, beat him up at the line, and early on, you're going to take him out for the rest of the game. I think it's Gilmore on him, man on man. That's how I'm attacking them. Emmanuel Sanders is the only one who kind of scares me because of his wheels, but if you have Butler on him with help over the top, are you worried about A.J. Derby? No. Are you worried about any of their other receivers? No. Take him out on 1st and 10, stop the run. I know this is a very long answer to the question, but this was kind of my big point going into the week. Take away the run on first down, and you basically take away everything the Broncos want to do on the offensive side of the ball. I just want to remind, I see the questions coming in. We will get to them here in a second. I just want to remind everybody this is the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. My name is Alex Barth. We thank you for joining us. We will take you just about up until kickoff here, and then we will have you. Mike Petragli will have you at Patriots CLNS on Twitter. You can follow us throughout the game, and then Mike and Marv will have you post-game. All right, let's get into some of these questions here. You guys have been great about getting these in. Somebody retracted a message. JD, pardon me. Feel free to throw that back up. Andrew wants to know, will we see Eric Rowe tonight? That's a good question, Andrew. I don't know as of right now. The inactives are dropping in 7 minutes, so Andrew, I hope you stay with us for 7 minutes. We'll give you the inactives, and we'll break down what it means for who is and who isn't playing. So that's the answer to that. I think we see Rowe tonight. He's had a lot of time off. We don't know the extent of the groin injury, but groin injuries historically are not that bad. I think we see him tonight, but we'll see what happens at 7 o'clock when the inactives come out. Andrew, thank you for the question. JD, how important will the running game be tonight versus Denver's defense? So if you didn't hear it earlier in the show, just to recap, the running game in terms of traditional hand the ball off, I think you bang your head against the wall there. You'll see a healthy dose of Dion Lewis tonight. What's more important than the running game itself is, like we saw against the Chargers, the ability to flip the ball to the backs, on the edge, screen passes, wheel routes, flats, and keep this pass rush off their timing. And that's what essentially the Patriots' running game is. In that they don't have much of a traditional, you really have two opposites. You have a team that is so traditional running game, it really doesn't exist anymore in the NFL outside of what they do in Denver. And you have the Patriots, whose running game consists of short passes to the running backs. Their running game isn't even really a running game. So the running game itself, it's always important to establish the run. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. But what's more important is the ability to get the ball to the running backs in the flat and put the defensive linemen off their timing on the pass rush. So I hope that answers your question. If not, let me know. I can get more in depth into it. D. Murphy wants to know, do I think the Broncos will put Aqib Talib on Gronk for the night? That's a great question there, D. Murphy. I was thinking about this driving home today. I was thinking about this. I think at times you'll see it. I hope he's not, because we all know what Aqib Talib is. He's a cheap shot artist. Cheap shot artist. Those are the words I'm trying to say. I hope he's not on Gronkowski. He's one of the few corners in the league that can cover him. They like to put TJ Ward on him, but he's now in Tampa. I think you'll see some of Talib on him. I think you're going to see Talib on Cooks a decent amount. I'm just trying to think here off the top of my head of the matchups. Harris is generally a rover. I think you'll see Talib on Gronk a decent bit. I think I'm kind of processing this in my head here. Keep an eye for Talib on Bennett in the red zone, because Talib's taller than Harris. If they come out at 2 tight ends set in the red zone, 1 wide receiver, you may see Talib on Bennett. I do think Talib will get a decent amount of time on the tight ends tonight. That's an interesting point, and that is definitely something to watch out for, and that could be the Broncos' best counter. Somebody wants to know what makes me such an expert. Chris Berman, I ain't. Nobody's Chris Berman. I grew up watching Chris Berman. I love Chris Berman. I never claimed to be an expert. I'm just somebody who has opinions I like to share. Somebody clearly thought enough of them to give me a platform, and I guess what makes me an expert is that people are willing to watch me. So, Juice, you're willing to watch me. You're what's making me an expert. Thank you very much for that. One more point about the tight ends, and this is file this in the unlikely, but I want to be on the record with it department. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but everybody strap in here. Remember a couple years ago when the Patriots signed Steven Jackson at the end of the year? And I know he was a disaster, but they played the Dolphins the first game that Jackson was on the Patriots, and the Dolphins didn't really know that Jackson was going to be a bust, so they put a little more emphasis on him than they probably should have. And Belichick exploited that in 2 running back sets by going to the other running backs, and the other running backs actually had a good game. The Patriots ended up losing, but the other running backs had a good game because of Steven Jackson as a distraction. So we don't know what Martellus Bennett's going to be tonight. He'll see the field, and the Broncos will have to pay attention to him. But let me throw a hypothetical formation out here for you. The Patriots come out, any wide receiver, we'll call it Cooks, could be Amendola, a running back, any running back, doesn't really matter. Not Gilsley, one of the pass-catching backs. I'll say that, one of the pass-catching backs. And then 3 tight ends in Gronkowski, Bennett, and either Allen or Hollister. But let's say Allen, because I want this to sound as shocking as possible. You have to double Gronk. They're going to put their third best coverage safety or linebacker, because 2 will be on Gronk. You're going to put 1 on Bennett. And you're going to have one of your stud corners over on the wide receiver, whoever it is. Dwayne Allen's going to be open. He's going to be on a pass rushing run coverage linebacker in that situation. I would not put it past Belichick to come out in that set and throw the ball to Dwayne Allen early and often. Dwayne Allen or Jacob Hollister, whoever it may be, I think it would be Allen, but up for interpretation, could end up having a huge game tonight with Marty Bennett as a distraction. Now, if he does, it would be his first huge game. It would be his first catch. And a huge game for Dwayne Allen. It's like 3 catches, 30 yards. But don't sleep on the third tight end tonight, Allen or Hollister. Don't sleep on him. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Don't come after me and say, oh, you were wrong. You said Allen was going to have a huge game. I'm not saying that he will. I'm just saying keep an eye on it. It's a possibility. Marty Bennett, at the very least tonight, if he can't catch, if they're just using him as a decoy, is a fantastic distraction to the Denver Broncos defense, because we saw what he did last year in the Patriots system and what he did in Green Bay. He was great in Green Bay before he got hurt. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but keep an eye on Dwayne Burkhan's Allen tonight. This is the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show, 6:59. I know we have some questions coming in here, so I do see those. I do want to get to those, but the inactives are going to come out here any minute. Before we get to those, I just want to remind everybody, this is the CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. My name's Alex Barth. We have your coverage all night. I'll take you up until about 7:15, and then Mike Petraglia takes over. You can follow him on Twitter at Trags. Also, our Patriots CLNS account at Patriots CLNS on Twitter. We'll have coverage throughout the game. Come back at halftime on Periscope at CLNS Media on Twitter for that Periscope. I'll be back for a halftime report, then back to Trags for the third and fourth quarter. Mike and Marv have you post-game to catch up on all of it. You can visit clnsmedia.com. Still 6:59, so let's squeeze in one more question here before the inactives, and they normally come out late anyway. Do I think Brady can pick apart Denver's defense, and do I think they'll use a lot of slot receivers? Yes and no. I think Brady can pick them apart. I said at the top of the show, absolutely should. This is the kind of game, out of the bye, late in the season, the Patriots go to that other gear that 31 other NFL teams do not have, and just start curb stomping the rest of the league. This is traditionally when that starts. Now, it's Denver, so it's going to be tough. But if this team's legit, we'll know it because Brady had a big game tonight. As for the slot receivers, what slot receivers? This is my question. They can't really use Amendola as a slot receiver because they need him to fill Hogan's role. And then who's left? I guess they could use running backs in that role. They want to use slot receivers. I just don't know who they're using. So it's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure how to answer it, to be honest. Because what slot receivers? We got time for one more. Okay, so the inactives are actually starting to come out here. Let me pull these up. Here we go. The Patriots inactives for tonight. Oh, wow. We got a big one off the top. Okay, so this just in here. Breaking news. Mike Gillislee is inactive tonight against the Denver Broncos. That is big. Gillislee has been a major disappointment this year. I like that commitment to the smaller, quicker backs. I like it. It's a gamble from Bill, but it's one I think you need to take, and it just hammers home the fact they will not run the ball tonight. Do not expect that. This is going to be one of these games where they run the ball 4 times and a half. Brady's going to throw 50, 55 balls tonight. They're telling Tom Brady to go win this game, and I love it. No Mike Gillislee tonight. That is huge. If you have questions on that, get them in. I'll talk about that. I'll go through the rest of the list here. Chris Hogan's inactive. We knew that. No Eric Rowe. It was Andrew was asking about that earlier. No Eric Rowe tonight. He will not play. So that leaves them again with Butler. Gilmore is back. Gilmore not listed, and I think we see him under Demarius Thomas tonight. That's a great matchup for him. We'll see if the concussion really was the issue for him, if he can get back to that form he was in Buffalo. And then, so Butler, Gilmore, and the combination of Jones and Batamosi. Malcolm Brown is inactive. We knew that. He would have been great tonight. Cole Croston, we knew. Marcus Cannon. Cassius Marsh, who some people, I have not been as down on him as other people have been, but he will not play tonight. So, they go, David Harris active, they go to the extra run stopper. Not totally surprised by that one. But I would like to see him. So as the questions come in, how many balls does Dwayne Allen have to drop before they dump him? The contract's weird. They'll dump him next year in training camp. It would really be tough for them to drop him during the season right now. Going back to the Gillislee thing, one thing I want to say. The Eagles, and they have the bye week this week. They just traded for Jay Ajayi. They have a much better power back. They're going to cut LeGarrette Blount. It's coming. He's coming back. This could signal the beginning of the end of the Mike Gillislee era in New England. I didn't want them to sign him. I think they offered him that big contract to try to get the Bills to match, to do something stupid. I was not a fan of that contract. And here he is, out of the bye, healthy, scratched. And for the people who've been defending him, saying, oh, he was one of the leaders in yards per carry last year. He's bad. He's not that good of a running back. He falls forward, and that helps. But when he is actually, like, one-on-one, fine. I'll take him one-on-one in a tackle. But when you get 2-3 guys on him, he can't push the pile. He's not really a power back. So, I would love to see that element tonight. I'm hoping this doesn't mean we see Brandon Bolden carrying the football. I would hope that's what that means. But no Mike Gillislee tonight. No Eric Rowe tonight. Stephon Gilmore will play. So those are your inactives. If you guys have any questions or comments on those, we can touch on that here. This is CLNS Media Patriots pregame show. My name's Alex Barth as we get ready to wrap things up. Again, the inactives just coming in. Gillislee, Hogan, Rowe, Malcolm Brown, Cole Croston, Marcus Cannon, and Cassius Marsh. Are those not suiting up for the Patriots tonight? Let's get the Denver inactives as well, see if those are up yet. Those are just coming in here. Paxton Lynch will be inactive. D'Angelo Henderson is inactive. Lorenzo Doors, Joseph Jones, DeMarcus Walker, Donald Stevenson, and Jordan Taylor, who's actually been their third receiver at times this year, is inactive tonight. That's the only name on that list that really stands out to me. Obviously, Paxton Lynch, but not sure how much we would have seen him. It's Osweiler. Simeon Lynch was third. That was a terrible draft pick. And here he is inactive in maybe their biggest game of the year. But Jordan Taylor inactive tonight, so I talked about how little the Denver receivers scare me. That's one less guy that they have, and one more reason to be confident in this defense tonight. So one more time, this is the New England Patriots pregame show, and it is brought to you by DraftKings. Listen up, basketball. This is for basketball fans. I know we had some people coming over after watching our Celtics coverage. Basketball season is back. And now that your favorite hardwood heroes have returned to action, it's time for you to put your fantasy knowledge to the test to win huge cash prizes every night playing one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. At DraftKings, there are so many ways to play. Choose from public contests with huge, it's in bold, so you guys know, like huge cash prizes, huge, or private contests so you can compete against your friends. They've even got beginner levels, casual contests, so whatever your skill level, you don't want to get, beat up by a bunch of basketball junkies. Beginner casual contests, join in on those. And the best part, you get to draft a new team every day. You don't have to worry about injuries. You don't have to worry about matchups. A new team every day. And, like, the draft's the best. I'm in 3 fantasy football leagues just because I want to do the draft. That's it. The drafting's the best part. Let's be honest here. The only thing that gets better, you win cash doing it. Just ask Dan from St. Louis or Jeremy from Austin. Both turned a $3 entry into thousands of dollars. You get tickets to the game like that. Look at that. Huge cash prizes and bragging rights only at DraftKings. And use our promo code CLNS at DraftKings.com to play free with your first deposit for your share of $10,000 in total prizes. That's right. You enter for free. You can win $10,000. Doesn't get much better than that. Don't wait. Use the code CLNS at DraftKings.com now to choose your lineup, and you can seriously cash in. That's code CLNS only at DraftKings.com. DraftKings, the game inside the game. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, that's going to just about do it for us here tonight. If anybody has any more questions about the inactives or as a whole, anything I didn't touch on, please let me know. I'm more than happy to get to it. Just a reminder, our coverage continues next with Mike Petraglia on Twitter. You can follow him at Trags. Follow at Patriots CLNS as well. We'll be live tweeting the game. We'll have facts and figures for you there. I'll be back on halftime. That is a Periscope-only broadcast. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to want to follow at CLNS Media on Twitter. And you can find the Periscope right there on Twitter at the half. And then coming back after that, of course, Trags will have you for third and fourth quarter. And Mike and Marv have you post-game to wrap it all up and preview next week's game against Oakland. Supposed to be in Mexico City right now. Supposedly there was a volcanic eruption there today, so we'll see. But the plan right now is actually for the Patriots to stay out west and practice out at the Air Force Academy before going to Mexico City. So that'll be interesting. They've done this before. They had a game a couple years ago where they had the Chargers and I want to say the Seahawks back-to-back weeks. They had 2 West Coast games, and they stayed out in San Diego and practiced at San Diego State. Belichick likes to do those. So not uncommon to see. That's the game next week. We're focused on tonight, though, against the Denver Broncos. So if nobody has any more questions, and it looks like all of that is just about wrapping up the show next week, we will have a 2:30 start for you next week, getting ready for that Oakland game, and you can find that same place on the CLNS YouTube page and on Periscope. You follow me on Twitter. I'll be talking throughout the game as well, at RealAlexBarth, no spaces. It's a little, if you've followed the show before, changed the handle a little bit, got a little more grown up. Shout out to Larry Russell at CLNS for giving me the final nudge I needed to do that. So until the next show, my name's Alex Barth. Make sure to follow at CLNS Media on Twitter, at Patriots CLNS, and check out our website, clnsmedia.com. Everybody enjoy the game. I will talk to you at halftime. Oh, I almost forgot my prediction. I give a prediction at the end of every show. Give me Patriots 34, Denver Broncos 17. That is my prediction. And yeah, let's all go enjoy the game. Get ready some time to get the nachos out of the oven, get the beer out of the cooler. I will talk to you at halftime. Everybody enjoy the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.